Hello, Charlene here. And today on the show, we are doing some amazing stuff. We're going to show you how to make your live streams much more impactful, more interesting, get people to watch, and entertained as well a little bit. And I have a special guest coming on who's going to help us with that as well. But I'm going to kick off the show showing you a few tips and tricks that you can do very simply, very easy with StreamYard. And then we're going to really dive into using some slides to really elevate your live streams when Bridget comes. So let's get started. Now, the very first thing you can actually do that is super, super simple is to actually create this kind of overlay. And you can do it very easily in Canva. You can make copies of these overlays so they can be in your brand colors. And by having an overlay like this and using pretty much the same one, or at least in your brand colors, it will make your live stream really stand out in the feed because people will start to get used to it. Just like, logo recognition. If they see that every day, they see my head, of course, but they see the branding, it just catches their eye. And without them having to really even think about it, they start to actually recognize this branding. So that's a super simple thing that you can do, and it's really, really easy. A few other things you can do with overlays that people don't really know about is you can also change, of course, the style, but I'm going to move to, the other way, is you can actually add things like this. You can add a graphic here if you really wanted to. And I'm still here. I'm not using the screen share. This is actually part of the overlay. And because you can upload multiple overlays, you can have a few graphics like that. That can make it a little bit interesting and to just kind of catch your eye so that you see. There you go. And of course, I actually changed the color of that overlay to even make it a bit more noticeable because when people are watching the talking head like me and you, they get bored, they zone out really, really quickly. And by having little things that kind of come up, it helps them to wake up. It changes their brain. And you would be surprised how often you have to do that. The other one you can do, which is really cool, and it depends on your background as well. My font here is a bit too small, so it should be a bit bigger. I should have tested this out earlier, but you can have cool points like that. So you can even have a list of bullet points right on your live stream. So again, that just kind of makes it different. It makes it impactful and pops out. One of the ones I really like to do, normally I just stick to this. I'm pretty simple. But one of the ones I generally do always at the beginning and at the end sometimes is I have a call to action or a call to engagement. And today my call to action is for you to join my free community. And I made this cute little, oh, I'm the wrong way, cute little graphic here with an arrow pointing down because I'm going to put the link to join my community in the comments down below. And so that it lets people know like, hey, there's something there. And I like to put that at the end. It just makes people wake up. And I also sometimes do it at the beginning like now. So that is one way to use overlays that a lot of people don't even use, right? They pretty much just set it one and they forget it. They don't bother to put graphics or even use it as a checklist or put other little mini things there. The only downside to having too many things on your overlay is when you do have guests. This kind of graphic down here with the arrow, that's, oops, I'm always forgetting it's the other way. That one there can sometimes be in people's way. Of the guests because I have to split the screen. So it's actually better to have an overlay that these ones are much older, and I realized through experimentation that something like this is actually much better. Well, you just have the graphics up here on the top corners. The StreamYard logo will stay there unless you pay to get it removed. I don't pay, so I don't get it removed. You can also put your logo there. Which is kind of cool. But as you notice, the StreamYard logo moved over, so I couldn't cover it up. It actually knew to move over. But you could also have it too. But it's not good to actually have too many things. It's very distracting. So you only want to have, one thing, two things that's very clear. And as you'll also notice, these lines don't go all the way down to the bottom because you'll notice my name over there. You see how it comes across. And that's because if I don't, it will actually be blocked by that blue line. So that's just a little design aspect that it needs to be up above a little bit. And that's also because I use a lot of banners. and I forgot to introduce myself. See, I just got right into it. I hadn't done a show here with you guys for quite a while. And I'm realizing making these shows and having guests is really fun, but it's also a lot of time for me to put together a lot more material for 45 minutes, especially if it's only me or even me with a guest. It still requires quite a bit more planning. And so I'm actually going to change my longer live stream show, which will still be here on Thursdays, still at what's that, 9 Pacific, 12 Eastern. But I only probably scale down to once a month. But my little regular short live streams will always be on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 Eastern. That's kind of my goal. So you can see I like to have my little name there. Hi, I'm Charlene, founder of Strength in Numbers. And I like to always put this, at least these two pieces of text here right away, helping you get more ideal clients on LinkedIn using live streaming, just so that it's front and center and people can see it and hear it, right? It's just right there. And that's why you also want to just make sure those little blocks there aren't blocking you. The other thing is, let's see here, we've got a few other things you can do. So banners, of course. And if you don't have captioning, this is a little shortcut for you. If you actually are not on LinkedIn yet live streaming, and you are just going to live stream it, say, to your Facebook and your YouTube, because that's very easy to do, and then download it out of your YouTube. You won't have the captioning, but there is a way to actually get the captioning. You can actually upload that native video, which was a live stream, to LinkedIn, pull down the captioning actually from YouTube. They provide it for you, and add it. It actually asks you for what's called an SRT, and that SRT file is available to you. So that's one way you can do it. But if that's too much work, and that can be too much work for many people, and it was too much work for me because I was streaming so much, what I did when I wasn't actually approved for LinkedIn Live, but I was uploading a lot of videos, is I really loved using these banners. So having the banners with the main points, this is not the point I'm talking about right now. I didn't actually make any, but putting up these kind of main points helps people to be able to follow along because you don't have the closed captioning. I do have the closed captioning, and so therefore I'm finding I don't need it as much. Although, again, breaking it up, making them less zonked and more paying attention is better with more little doodads, let's just say, right? It seems busy and it is tough because you kind of have to manage that while you got to keep looking at the camera and know what to say, and all of that makes it tough. But one of the good things about the banners that I used to really rely heavily on the banners as well for was prompts. So I actually write my live streams in advance. I don't write out word for word, it's not scripted, but I do have the main points um, on these banners. And that helps me to remember, oh, yeah, I got to talk about that. Oh, yeah, then I got to talk about this. And then I talk about it for a little bit. That's the impromptu part, but it just makes it a little bit less stressful because the banner comes up, I can see it, it reminds me, and then I don't have to actually freak out and think like I got to remember a live stream for the next 30 minutes, which is a long time to talk. Now, what else do we have that can make it very interesting? So we talked about the overlays, which I highly recommend. Actually, I don't like that one. I want to keep this one. And we spoke about the logo, which you can or not put. And then the last thing we talked about was in StreamYard, just putting banners, are called, to make it very, very simple and easy for you to have highlighted points for everybody. The other thing that I like that I don't really see that many people use, I'm not sure why, they usually just hit go live. And if you're streaming to multiple platforms, even though you're live on StreamYard, you're probably not live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn instantly. To be honest, you're not. There is actually a lag, and each of those platforms has a slightly different lag. And you would think, well, so what? But if the lag is up to 5 seconds, 10 seconds, well, that's already the hook. And what I've already been talking about will be cut off because it wasn't actually live yet. So, what you can do so you don't have to really think about that, worry about that, and so that when you go live, you pretty much are live on all three, is to use the countdown clock. There's a free one that comes with StreamYard, and you can just use that one to get started. It's really good. It's 30 seconds, and I actually press the go live button at about 10-second countdown. Sometimes it even takes time. You'll see StreamYard kind of cranking away at it. And so it takes a little while for it to go live. And that way you're ensured to be live on all of the platforms at the same time. And that makes for a nice experience with a recording. The other thing that you can also use to make your live stream stand out is a little intro. And I have a little intro. It's with the flashy lights. Do you remember that? Yes, that's me and my intro. And you probably noticed that it was a really, really short. I think it's 5 seconds. And I used to have one was 10 seconds, which I found or I thought would be short enough, but actually it's really long for people. So it's much better to have a very short, succinct intro that has some impact and can again catch their attention, because I start out speaking to you as the talking head. I give you a little teaser, and then I use a video to kind of like wake you up. And again, branding, right? Because you recognize that's coming right after. And if you don't remember, because you already forgot what was going on with that, I'm going to show you my intro one more time because it's only 5 seconds. And that was it. See, that was really short and, catchy music, of course. You want something that's going to reflect you and who you are. And so making an intro like that is not very difficult, especially since it's very short. And you can even use some stock videos that Canva provides. That one wasn't actually built in Canva, but I do build quite a few videos, and people don't know you can actually build videos in Canva very easily, especially if you've already got a paid account. It's included. So making an intro like that isn't very difficult at all. And now we have Bridget. Yay, she has just entered in the backstage. I'm going to bring her forward here. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Have you been on StreamYard before?
I have. I'm just gonna take my logo off because it looks like it's off-centered. Let's see here. Hang on. Playing with all these little buttons. There we go.
No worries. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I was, just getting ready to meet with you and doing a little research and stuff, and getting all these great ideas for helping people to better present, with slides. And it's just fun. It's my life mission. So
Excellent. Yes. And a lot of people have asked me about slides for live streams. And I actually generally tell them not to use that function, which is just share screen slide, because people usually then use it as such a crutch that it is really a horribly boring live stream. And I actually generally say, when you're starting with live stream, just do yourself, just talk. And they don't like that because they want to hide behind the slides. And we're going to talk a bit about how to do good ones in a bit. Actually, I'm going to give first an intro because I didn't introduce you yet. So this is Bridget Callahan, and she is a slide presentation designer with 30 plus years experience creating compelling presentations. She has worked with some of the biggest names in business, including Xerox, Acura, Samsung, and PayPal. She is passionate about helping speakers create slides that engage and inspire their audience and turn them into raving fans. And that's what we want too with live streams. We want to make it engaging and interesting, because a live stream is generally a talking head, and people after 1 minute just zonk out. As you know, they just have such a short attention span, even on social media. And I decided to show my slides. I don't know how how well or bad this is going to go, but I sent Bridget my slide deck, where this was actually used for my very first live stream episode. This is my episode, which is like 40 minutes. So I decided I would use slides, because if it was just me talking, I thought, oh God, that's going to be really boring, and it's who's going to want to listen to me for 40 minutes, to be honest. So I thought, okay, let's try it with slides. And that was the first time I built the slide deck, and I actually built that for another presentation. So she's going to look at, should we go through every slide, or how should we do this with the best way?
What we could just do is walk through and, I may say just jump forward or whatever. Usually I like to see slide sorter view. So like, oh, let's look at slide 7. Let's look at slide 12. We could do it that way. I'm not sure in this format if they're going to be able to see slide sorter view before you go, and then project the slide.
Let me see. I have it in full view, but right now I can pull it up. Let's see here. Well, that's actually the way I want it. And let me get out of this. Oh, sorry. It's
Are you in PowerPoint?
I'm in Google Slide, actually.
Okay.
1 second. The thing is not, oh, there we go. Stop that. And yes, I can show, it's just really slow today. Here we go. There we go. So let's go back and put it back to that. So I don't know if you can, it's really small on the side.
Yeah, there's a way to click the layout so you could see all of the slides, not like the slides on the side, but they're all, it's hard to see the icon. And is it the bottom icon in the bottom left corner?
Oh, yes. Oh, no,
not
sorry.
that one, but the other one.
Button. One second, my computer bounced on something else.
There it is.
Like this?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is, I started designing slides before computers, and, that was carousel projectors and slide mounts. And we would go to a light table and we'd have all the slides laid out. And then we would be putting the slides in order of the storyboards we were working from. This is like the Hollywood effect of building, live events. And so what I love about this is it's that same kind of feeling. Like I can see all the slides. It's like, oh, you know what? Let's move slide 14 to slide number 2. And these 3 slides, let's move this later to the talk. And so I use this, primarily as I'm building my talk and putting things together. And I've worked live events, helping speakers, make edits to their slides or getting their slides on the computer that projects to the screen. And a lot of seasoned speakers would come back to me and say, I need to make a couple edits to my slides. And they are so seasoned that they can open their slides. They probably have like 250 slides in their deck, but they're only going to use maybe 50. And they just know, okay, I don't want to talk about that. So they'll turn it off and they'll bring this one in. And within 5 minutes, they've constructed their talk for this next hour-long session that they're going to speak. So I'm just sharing with people that this slide sort of view is a really great way to look at your slides and see, okay, what's the story? How am I telling it? And is it in the right order? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I never even knew you could do that. And that is already tip number 1 is super awesome there. And now what should we do? So you saw my presentation and how I used it.
Yes.
And if those who didn't, I will drop the link down below later in the chat, and they can see it in comparison essentially later on if you wish.
I just did a screenshot so I can have your slide sort of view up as we pull up a slide. So let's see. Let's project slide 1. That's your first foundation slide that you're going to speak to, right?
Yes. It is my opening slide.
And if you've never seen me speak before, I tell people, if you want to bore your audience, put all your slides on a white background. And they're like, what? But it's like, I relate it to, when you go to the movies and you're ready, the movie's about to start, you've seen all your trailers, you've got your popcorn, and then the movie starts and you're all excited, but they didn't turn the lights down. It's like, hey, can you turn the lights on? The movie started. That's the same thing with a white background. It's like this flashlight shining in your eyes, because when we look at projected light, we look for the white. So light text on a dark background is so much easier to read and so much more calming. So my first comment on this, great image, right? Go full frame on the image. Get rid of all the white, just go full frame on the image. You can take that text and kind of lay it out, around the image if you need to, or put it in a bar at the bottom. But it has a completely different impact when you go full frame with the image. That's that Hollywood effect that you want to look at.
So no text at all.
What?
You would say no, you would want me to remove the text completely.
Well, no, there's a way that I would add text, like you would probably, if you want to do it, just go back to edit and then just make that. If you want to make a copy of these slides so you don't ruin these, you could do that too. Or
No,
duplicate the slide.
we can ruin them. That's okay.
Okay.
Hold on. So let's do the first suggestion that you asked me to do,
Okay, so
which
double click on
was,
the slide.
yep, I actually, it seems to be kind of,
Oh,
there we go. I
better
have to
that
go
way.
to
Okay.
this view here. Okay, I'm
All
on the
right.
slide. And now,
So click on the image and just make it full frame. So drag it so that it fills the whole frame of the slide.
oh, okay. Bigger even.
And then send it to the back. Yeah. So I don't want to see any white anywhere on the slide. So you might have to zoom out a little bit so you can manipulate the picture on the pasteboard. So there's a way to resize the slide. Where is it? I don't use Google Slides that much, so I don't really know how to navigate. I think it's under View, the View pull-down menu.
Okay.
So you're too tight
Oh,
on your
I want to
slide. You
zoom
need to
out.
zoom
Oh,
out.
yes, I know where that is. Hold on a second. Just have to go here. Sorry, I guess because we're live,
Okay, good.
there is a slight lag in my when I click, and then it's like doesn't do anything for ages. I think because it's a bit heavy load, a little bit of a heavy load. So it's bigger than it's actually bigger. But if I do
You can
this, it's
distort
gonna,
it a little bit. You can distort it a little bit, but that's too much.
yeah.
That
So I
looks
was
fake.
thinking just have
But
it.
yeah,
But
look in the top left corner where you see the thumbnail and you can see,
yes.
okay, that's where it centers. The next thing is send it to the back so you can get a hold of your text.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
a way to reorder your elements on a slide.
Yes. Send it backward. Now there's the text on the front of his face.
Yeah, and then grab the text box and
Okay.
then resize it from the lower right corner.
Yes.
Pull it to the left down. Keep going so it's not near his head. So you're cutting the text in half. The text box is going to be half the width of the slide or less than half the width of the slide.
Oh,
So you have to
okay.
drag it to the left. You're going to the right.
Oh,
You want to
sorry.
drag to the left. No. Grab the right bottom thing. You had the right dot, but just drag it to the left. All the way to the left.
I see. I think I have to drag it this way.
Is
that
it
what
not
you mean?
resizing the text?
Is it oh, I can resize it either from here, bottom corner?
Well, or try the middle side.
Okay, just a second.
See, this is where I should probably take over because I could go so much quicker.
Yeah, you can log into my I can give you access.
All right, send me the link.
I will give you the link, and then that way it will be probably also better because I'm streaming. It seems my computer is really slow. It's just chugging away trying to
Would I be able
process.
to share my screen?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Okay.
can. At the very bottom, there's a share screen there. Done. I'm going to just
I see
drop
it.
it in
Okay.
our private chat. Nobody can see it but you, because I don't want
That's good.
everybody going on the slide deck. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay.
So I've stopped, and at the bottom of your panel there, you have like mute or turn off your camera. You should have screen share, I believe.
Okay. I'm just navigating to my LinkedIn to get your link. Let's see, where did it go?
Sure, no
There it
worries.
is.
What I will do is I'm going to push you to the backstage just for a minute. I'm going to give them a tip while you get ready, and then I'll pull you back. Sound good?
Okay. So where's
You're
the
still
link?
here.
Is it in LinkedIn?
No, sorry. In StreamYard itself, there's a private chat.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and there it is at the very bottom.
Very good. I see it.
I'll bring you right back in just a second. So we are getting ready. I'm sorry that there was a bit of technical difficulties, but hey, we are trying this out. It's an experiment in itself. And having Bridget here as a slide expert is really amazing. I already learned like 3 things. We only just got started. The first one was not to have a white background. And the second one was to have it all laid out as a grid so that you could see all your slides at once, which is really cool. And I loved how she explained about how a professional or seasoned presenter would have like a deck of 200 and be able to like on the spot build a presentation out of 50 of the slides. And that's actually one of my aspirations, is to do that. When I was working with my presentation coach, he was saying that, hey, if we build these presentations in these kind of building block style, you would actually be able to have a master of building blocks. And then every time someone asks you to do a presentation, you can essentially tweak it to be very specific for that audience. And now I'm getting to learn how Bridget's using it for slides, which is really cool. Yes, and I see you got the slide share going. Excellent. So I'm bringing you back to the stage, and I'm going to add the stream of the slides. There we go. Yay. Yay, yay, yay. It's working now. Everything is going great. And she's going to be way faster.
It'll go a little faster. I actually made a copy, and I'll provide this to you when we're done. It's just a habit of ours when we're working on client slides, always make a copy. And I could talk for 30 minutes on why, but bottom line is you want to have a previous version if you need to go back to it. So now I want to get rid of this little magnifying glass. Okay, and so the text box, we're trying to take over here. Let me put, we want to make the text light. And it's just a matter of like, how can we put this text in there to make sense without interfering with the visual, all right? So notice how this has so much more impact when it's the picture's full frame.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see here, I think, oh, I know why. I'm hearing an echo, so let me close this.
Yeah, just that little tweak. I was so surprised. And I always thought, white is good because it's just minimalist.
Well, you know why people go to white is because everybody does it. What am I trying to do here? Slideshow. How do you go?
Oh, just at the top right. Yep. Just hit slideshow. Yeah, that one. There we go.
Okay.
Now you're in full slide. There you go. Now we can see it really well. Oh,
so
nice. I like it.
There's no other distraction. When you look at this slide, the first thing you go to is his eyes, right? Because we look at people's eyes or animals' eyes or whatever, and then we go, okay, what are they looking at? And he's looking up. So, okay, he's in thought, especially with the hands and everything. And then we go and read the text. And then you can kind of correlate, how to become a copywriting master. Okay, so we see a picture of a master. All right, I love it. I want to be Yoda, So that's why I say do that. And then this one, we got a lot of white here, right? And so I think there's different layouts. Okay, in your theme master, there's no layouts for a dark background. So what I would do is I would start with a different theme, but I don't want to go into designing a different theme. So maybe we could just put in a box and see what happens if we made it dark, right?
Sure.
Send to the back. Where's send to the back?
It's under order. So you passed it. So go back up. Yeah. And then pick send to the back. There you go.
Okay. And then the color, let's just, for now, just go black. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You could change
just to
the
see the
later,
difference.
We're just seeing what it looks like. And you can find a lighter color that, is more pleasing. And then you had this little accent here, this little dot, dot, dot. To me, I'm not really a fan of all these like accents. Because to me, everything, it draws your eyes to it. And one way to look at it is you look at all the elements you have on your StreamYard. You have these little squigglies in the corner, and one of them overlaps the slides, and that could impede readability on the slide. So it's just more information that takes our eye away from the focal point. So the simpler, the better. Okay. And then this one, I would do this as two separate slides. You could have quit as the first slide. So let me just duplicate this. So I just hit Command D on a Mac, Control D on a PC to duplicate the slide. And if I were to go full frame, and I'm just looking over here to see what that looks like. Okay. And then send this to the back. Send it to the back. Order. Okay. And then you can have the word two choices. It doesn't have to be that big. I'm just kind of looking over here to see where it's landing. You have two choices, and maybe this needs to be a little bigger, and maybe it's on white or a light color or something. And so again, okay, so it's fading in. I wouldn't fade that in. I would just have the slide come in.
Okay.
So I think the element, the photo faded in,
Yeah.
because I would just go straight from. How do you get a fade off of here? Is that under?
I believe it's an animated. So underneath the slideshow button, there's animate. Uh,
Right. Okay, so we
and
can.
and you can just remove this kind of like animation that's called or whatever that it fades or it jumps in or whatever.
Did it delete it? There it goes. Okay, let's see what that does. Okay, so you could fade in. So like okay, so we're gonna start over, right? So
Hmm.
here's your first one.
Yes.
Completely different. And I really want you to see what this looks like when you project it, through your StreamYard. And then you go into your time. You got to learn how to dance or, dance swing. Why would we do that? And you go through your story of, to meet people, to get into your body, that kind of thing. And then you say you have two choices. You can quit, or you can, and then you go to the next one, or you
Yeah.
can double down. And
Mhm.
so I all these fancy transitions can get in the way. Like the one where you're flipping it, I
Yep.
would probably do that once in your whole slideshow. I wouldn't do it on every single one.
Oh, okay.
My favorite transition is just a soft fade. If you take note when you watch commercials or you watch movies and how they fade from one to the next, you don't even notice it, and that's what you want. It's not a hard cut, but you usually soft fades from one scene to the next. And so we're just taking that Hollywood effect and applying it into slides. Does that make
Nice.
sense?
Yes. Okay. So you from going slide to slide, you recommend soft fade. And what about if you fade in like the 3-point story where, I'm sort of have three images, you would also do the soft fade? That was slide 2.
Yeah, you want to probably look at and say, which one would be best served as the flip, right?
Right.
Like this first one, you really don't need any animation because it's going to be the slide that you bring up, right?
Yes.
How do I delete this? Okay, none. There we go. So then this one's the flip, and then this one should just be a soft fade. So just a dissolve. You have dissolve or fade. Okay. And then this same thing. So usually I'll do all my slides without any animations. The last thing I'll do is put in the slide transitions. Okay.
Okay.
So again, we're starting out here. This is the other thing too is I might want to give more room to this area up here. Can you see where my mouse
Yes.
is? Because
Yes.
our
Above
eyes go
your
up
head.
here and it's
Uh-huh.
really tight on the head. So if I were to move this down a little, how much far can I move it down? Not too much, but that's good. All right, so you have your tile slide. Then we go to the next slide, and you're just talking, and then you're clicking to get the three images, and they're nice fades, so that's nice and clean. And then you go to the next slide, and it's just a soft fade that it's just going into. You have two choices. You could either quit or you could double down. And
Mhm.
I think I had two choices show up on this next slide, but it's behind the picture. So
Mhm.
um, so that's, it's okay. Like that title, the two choices,
Yes.
it's small. It doesn't look like a title up at the top. It doesn't have to. It's just a little hint of, this is the conversation we're having right now.
Ah, okay. Excellent. So don't always
And
have to
then
have a title at the top.
you do not, you do not. So then, in getting to like some of the text heavy slides, right?
Yes.
I think I had a question of why did you choose this font that's the bullets font?
I usually try to choose font that's fairly easy to read,
Okay.
um, and just not a lot, just as clean as possible. I didn't really think it through much more than that.
So this is a good learning experience. As a designer, one of the many choices we get to make is what fonts do we use? And when you look at fonts evoke all kinds of emotions. And you could see a font that looks like a cowboy font. It's like, oh, that's Western style. Or you can
Uh-huh.
see a font that's really script and frilly, and it's like, oh, that's for a wedding invitation. And so when I look at this body copy of this font, it looks like Courier or this single spaced lettering from a typewriter, and it almost looks like it's a rough draft. It looks
Mm.
not quite like a mistake, but it looks like a rough draft, and so it loses importance, I think, I don't think it helps readability because of the single spacing of each letter. There's like a lot of space between the letters, and I think tightening up is not going to fix it because of the type of font that it is. So that's, I just wanted to use this as an example of, your fonts do evoke emotion, and are you aware of the emotions it's evoking? Is that what you want? Because to me, this looks unfinished, and I wasn't sure if that was your intention.
No, it was not. But I do have a question about the fonts then. Since they evoke an emotion, I mean, some are more obvious, like the handwriting or the more stylized one. But if, if it is going to be more text, like this is each point, um, you want it to be fairly easy to read as
Absolutely.
well.
Yes.
So how do I know if like I'm not, maybe I'm not, I don't have a designing eye, but if I look at 5 fonts, Arial or even, the most basic, whatever times, and to me, they all kind of are the same emotion. I
Yes.
don't feel an emotion to them. And when you said that, oh, it feels unfinished, I was like looking, I was like, yeah, maybe. Like, I don't know. I didn't really think of it, like I said. So I'm just curious, if I have 5 fonts that are fairly similar in style, how do I know what emotion is coming across, I guess?
Well, notice how that looks different now.
Hmm.
I mean, it's still easy to read, but what changed?
It's a bit more stronger. The words, the letters between are also closer together.
Yes, so that makes it easier to pick out the words. Otherwise, if you look at it individual, it's like, okay, D, R, E,
I
W, okay, Drew,
see.
and then E, R, Eric. Okay, so it slows down the readability.
Okay.
So,
Excellent. Good
and,
to know.
and if you look at this slide, it fits differently now. I don't like this thing. See how it fits differently now? Before the text came out to the side here.
Yes.
So fonts, there's a lot of choices that go into choosing the fonts and how it's going to affect the layout.
Uh-huh.
So,
And do you think we should ever put text on the slides or try to put almost no text on the slides ever? What would you kind of say about
well,
that?
if you could tie an image to each of these, um, I would do a full frame image or something like that. Or, you could have a square image over here, full frame, not like, like it's a lot of white space around the edge. Just fill it with the full frame. And then, you could have a color bar of just one of the text, just saying, well, survival, you want to enjoy life. What picture would evoke that? And then enjoyment of food and beverages. Maybe it's showing your favorite hamburger stand. Or freedom from fear, pain. It might be someone with their outstretched hands, looking outside,
Mhm.
on the mountains. Sexual relationship, that could convey many different images for that. So just looking at, when you say the words and they see the image, they're going to remember 80% more of what you're saying because they tie it to that image.
Okay, so you would actually recommend that this slide be turned into images rather than this kind of texted bullet points.
Well, and it could be 8 slides.
Yeah.
Each bullet is a slide. That's the
Hmm.
trick to getting rid of too much text on a slide, is make each bullet one slide. And then you can, if you need to put it all on one slide to put it together at the end, you can do that. But to have this up for this amount of time and then just click through individually, ho hum.
Okay, great.
And this is good. You got some order. Our brains love order. Okay. And when you have something, lined up and easy to read, it makes it easier for us to consume the information. Right. So you're talking
Hmm.
about book titles, old and new.
Yeah, well, it was an example of how that the first slide showed you about these 8, it's like essentially Maslow's, right? Like hierarchy of needs, what it was. And there was an experiment done where this publisher essentially, what he did is he would release a book with the first title, which was the old, say this time 10 o'clock, and he would see how much it would sell for, and that sold for 2,000. And then he would take back the book, he would just change the cover, and everything inside was the same, and resell it with a new title based on one of those 8 needs. and so the second title is what art should mean to you, and then he sold it for $9,000. So that was kind of like an exercise. So I would show the first one, then the second one, and then sort of to see oh, can we compare and contrast essentially the two, right? It's hard, like the Fleece of Gold, you're like kind of like, what's that? But then you say like Quest for a Blonde Mistress. Whoa, like no wonder it's 10 times the sales.
Well, and I love the Art of Controversy. No one bought that.
Yes,
right.
But how to argue logically? Well, that was
that was the winner.
Just really shows you. So I try, and I had this was actually the hardest slide. I spent the most time on it because I was like, how am I going to do this compare and contrast without giving it away? Because I kind of wanted them to think like I would present the old, and then I wanted to present the new and then show the values kind of after. And I had a hard time to actually get the slide to do that, so that it kind of, had some mystery or anticipation, right? So that I didn't give away the answer, which, makes it less exciting when you do the talk.
Right.
Yeah.
I was just playing around with the spacing, so you don't have wrapping lines, because there's all this white space here. And I would actually move all this, take the longest line, whichever is the longest line, and then that determines where this next line goes. Okay. So that you don't have the double spaces, and then close the space here, because then it's easier to read when they're close together.
Oh, okay. So removing wrapping texts and not having a lot of extra space between each of those cells.
Yeah, it doesn't help in readability. It's
readability.
like
okay.
putting
So what I got to do is look at
each word
for readability. Okay.
Yeah. The other thing is, when I'm looking at this again, I talk about limbic messaging. It's the limbic brain is the emotional brain. We also know it as the lizard brain, but it's our reaction brain. And in that emotion, what would be a limbic message version of this slide? And to me, it would be having a picture of the book cover before and after, if these book covers really exist.
They did, but I don't know. I'd have to search for the covers. I mean, it was this was an example used in the book that I read, Cash Advertising. So
Yeah.
I would have to find where that author found these titles. But it's been known that, I mean, that is a very common copywriting hack, to literally take the copy you have. I mean, I think even the Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week was known for that they actually revamped that title like 5 times before it really sold. And the most best-selling was 4-Hour Work Week, but that was not the first title of that book. He never rewrote the book. He just rewrote the title every time and tried to sell it again and again and to get it better. So
right.
There's actually quite a few case study examples beyond these ones that are very well known.
Interesting. So I'm just playing around with layout. I'd probably fill this with white inside. Let's see. I don't know where the box is, but anyway, just the overlap of like this whole thing relates to this, and then get them all lined up and then center it in the slide. Unless, like maybe you have this design where you don't encroach everything centered. You have this space on the left, and that could work when you're doing live stream, and you might have a video down in the corner or a graphic that stays there all the time. So you want to be mindful of, if you're streaming live, what are the elements around the slide that might distract from reading the slide?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. For example, I agree. Like these on my overlay that I have here, this is an older overlay. I should have my new overlay. My new overlay has nothing. It's just a bar, because yes, it's too distracting when there's guests, and then it encroaches on the slides like you see right now, right? It's already encroaching on the slide, or even and then I actually realized I have my what's called this background on, which is also, I should just change that. These people always think like, oh, let's have all this right there. I can just have black, right? So that's probably even better as well, making it just a lot easier to read. And if I pan out, it's still good. I think it's still very, very interesting. Well, I'm going to ask you, I don't want to keep you too much longer because we're at 45 minutes, but I do have one question that I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
Let me remove this. We can just have us, and we'll do ourselves a bit bigger here. There we go. Okay. So we talked about tons of mistakes on the slides that I made, but hey, excellent learning experience, because I want to use more slides during this kind of live stream show. And a lot of people have asked me about slides, and to be honest, I can make slides, but I'm not an expert. And I think most of us, we make the mistake of just taking that template that's like stock sitting in the thing and just, drop in a bunch of crap and hope for the best, really.
Well, and that's the myth of these slide templates were designed by experts. They were not. Most graphic designers who go to college and learn about design, they don't learn how to design slides, and it's a completely different animal than designing for print or for web. And so these templates are horrid. I want to do some videos to show, a lot of people use this template. This is why you shouldn't. And again, how do you get that simplicity? Because we have 3 seconds to capture their attention. 3 seconds. If you have all these little elements over here and our eyes are flitting back and forth to these elements and not really capturing what the message is, you've lost them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. And you do have some videos, you do have a YouTube. And I did see some good stuff there. Hopefully you'll be making some more stuff, because I'm sure, I mean, if you did a shout out, I don't know, I could put it to my community now, but you might get a lot of requests. So like I do a review of people's LinkedIn profile, and I started doing one, and then another person asked me, it's like, can you do mine next week? And then I was like, can you do mine the week after? And I think, you would have this abundance of essentially case studies of people who bring their slides to you to do a tear down. And you can learn so much from.
I rather call it a build up.
Not useful, but doing somebody else's, I think it's just, the feedback is amazing.
Yeah, no, I don't want to tear them down. I want to build them up.
Yeah, build them up. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant to say. But I mean, like, not tear down, feedback.
Yes,
feedback session. Let's call it that. I'm gonna actually, before I forget, you have a free gift that you would like to give to everybody here, and I'm gonna put the link after the live stream in the comments. You want to talk a little bit about that gift?
Yeah, so I think it's the LinkedIn. It ends in LinkedIn, the link, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a website called createslidesthatconvert.com/LinkedIn. And what it does is it leads to my free offer, which is a series of videos that walks through how to create these compelling slides. And when I give a webinar, I show before and afters, and I actually show some of the afters and how I constructed them. And one shows you how do I insert a video that plays automatically and plays every time. So many people have trouble with showing video, and I think video is so important. Not only is the visual nice, but is the sound right? And they slap a video on the slide and they don't pull full screen. And it's like, oh my God, you're missing out on a major impact here. Other ones show how to convey statistics visually. Okay. Or how to find great images. So it's like one of my most favorite freebies. When you go to the site, you actually become a member of the site. And I have over 620 members already of people who've got that freebie and come and saw some other free information that I have there. So just come join the community and let's learn this together. My mission is to make a difference for 1 million audience members by working with 1,000 speakers. And this mission was my goal to fulfill in like 5 years. So it's not a lot of time, but I've spent 30 years working live events, and I've seen how the audience just gets taken out by poorly designed slides. And I want to transform that.
Oh man, I got a lot of introductions for you, because now, it's all moved to the virtual summit style. And that is, I find, even worse. It's like the most horrible thing usually to go to, because people just put up the slide deck and it's the worst slide deck. So you don't even see that person, which is usually the most engaging. And now you're left with like an hour of horrible slides. And I find it's just even harder now with the virtual summits. And so I can help make some introductions for you, and I am hoping to I am going to get this myself, to be honest, because like I said, I want to bring in slides in a way that's interesting to my live streams, and I think a lot of people want to do that too, because it's just a fun way to just put a bit of impact into your presentation, whether it's virtual or in real life, hopefully very soon.
Yeah, and it would be awesome to maybe come back and, a later time and just do part 2 or something, or, let's learn something different, or you might have more questions or your audience has more questions we can ask. So
Oh, yeah, definitely. That sounds really wonderful, actually. I would love to have you back. And thank you so much for being on my show today, taking the
you're
time
welcome.
to do this. And I really enjoyed it. Even if nobody else got anything out of this, I got tons. But I did see actually a lot of people pop in live, in and out, in and out. So there was a lot. And I get a lot of playbacks actually, afterwards. So I'm pretty sure this
Awesome.
is going to be one of my bigger playbacks, for sure.
Oh,
And I'll tag you
thank
in it
you.
too. So thank you so much. Have a good day and a good evening. And we'll have you back again soon.
All right. Sounds good. Take care.
Bye. So that was Bridget Callahan, and she did my slides for me to show me how to actually get more impact. And if you're doing live streams or even virtual events and being on virtual summits, you really want to check out her gift. Create slides that convert. She's going to talk about a lot of the stuff that she just showed on this live stream. And if you miss this live stream, it's okay. You're going to watch the recording. I also have it on my YouTube channel. And you can also join my community, where I will be able to have that up there for you. Oh, Dale's here. Thanks, Dale. I'm glad Dale really enjoyed that. And she loves Bridget as well. You two must know each other. So that's wonderful. Have a great day. And I will see you all very soon.